Okay, laten rätte, komma in. I don't know if that's how you actually say it. Let the right one in. So I watched this recently. Um, I kind of liked it. It wasn't exactly what I expected. The first thing I gotta say, like, what does it say here? Maybe not here. There's a best vampire movie ever. I think that's really misleading. This is not really a horror movie. It's more of a drama, with elements of horror, even romance. It's kind of disturbing in some ways, but it's a drama. And I don't think it's great. I don't think maybe it's a little overrated. I didn't completely like, but I think if anyone, yeah, is looking for something, this is the original Swedish one because I think there's Let Me In, which is the remake American. I didn't realize this was like 8 years old either, but uh, I do think it's unique. And if you like something that's kind of strange, kind of original, offbeat, slow pace. I definitely think it's slow pace, but with some weird things that happen that might be a little bit shocking, and where it doesn't let you know exactly what's going on. You have to gradually figure it out, and which is kind of complex. Maybe explore some darker aspects of humanity or life. If you like that kind of stuff, then you might like it a lot. You might love it. If that doesn't sound appealing, if you're looking for a horror movie, it's not a horror movie. It has one or two maybe slightly scary or creepy things. I mean, if you love vampires, then, I mean, as that person said, best vampire movie ever, maybe. Actually, by the way, before I go, well, okay, so maybe I should, yes, that's it. That's my recommendation, the overall review. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. It's, like, quite good, quite interesting. Like, I don't feel like, oh, what a waste, but I don't think it's great. I would have liked it to be better. And it's more of a drama. So, and it is kind of romantic in a way, and kind of interesting and thought-provoking. Mainly, it's original and different, but I think a little bit slow. So, but yeah, what I wanted to say, because it's about vampires, isn't, I don't get how vampires is not a rip-off. Like, that makes me think of Dracula. And I actually like the original Dracula with Bela Lugosi. I haven't seen the Spanish one, made it about the same time. Well, the same time, I think, on the same set. I've seen the Christopher Lee 1959 one. That was really good. And I've seen, Francis Ford Coppola's one with Gary Oldman and all that. I really like all of them. It's kind of funny. I see them all as, I'd give them like 8 or 9 out of 10. Like, they're really, like, not great, but I enjoy them a lot. But the thing is, that's Dracula. And I'm confused, where did vampires come from? Who originally... I mean, I know there's the movie Nosferatu. I don't know when Bram Stoker wrote Dracula. It's such a weird name as well, Bram Stoker. Stoker sounds like a steak in a hat, and Bram sounds strange, like even reminds me of blood, Bram. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if that's a name. Let me give an analogy though. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If I made a movie about turtles and they fight crime and they're, sort of big and they can talk, people would be like, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If I made a movie or a book or whatever and it's about these robots that pose as vehicles, but they can also turn into big normal looking robots and they fight, you'd say that's Transformers. It's a rip-off. So why can people, I don't get this. Why can you make a movie about people that drink blood and like with two, I don't know, sharp fangs, and they can't, be exposed to sunlight, or they might burn, or they get hurt, why? And they're pale and they can turn into a bat or whatever, all this mythology. Not all of those things happen in the movie, but why is that not considered a rip-off of, oh, it's just vampires. The same with like zombies, why is it, how did it become mythology? And werewolves, I can understand something like dragons are like a mythological creature. China, I don't know, has them in history, I think. Maybe some other countries. But yeah, even like elves. Where did elves originate? It's so specific. A dragon I can see is more generic and maybe existed in history as a supposed thing. But like elves with their pointy ears, I mean, I know they're in Tolkien, but I bet they existed before that. So why is that okay? Why can you just say, oh yeah, elves? I could make my own fantasy thing and have elves in it. No one's going to blink an eye. I could have elves, zombies, vampires. If I had Transformers, people are like, dude, that's Transformers. You can't like, where's the logic? Why are some things, I can't make a movie I mean, I know it's not plot. It's kind of like, what if I had a DeLorean and it was a time machine? People would, dude, like, why did that not take off as like a subgenre? Anyway, it's so confusing to me. So anyway, this movie, the I don't know why I keep showing it, like to give you context, in case you forget what movie. I'm such an idiot. Yeah, I found it a bit slow, and I don't think I'm not against. Hang on. I don't mind if a movie takes its time, and it can be sort of artistic. This movie is kind of artistic. I like the cinematography. I like some of the snow falling, and just there's a subtle thing where some movies can come across as pretentious, and some other movies can come across as just really gorgeous or beautiful. This one comes across as really nice. It looks nice, and it doesn't feel pretentious. There's some shots. It's interesting, like at a school. It's kind of claustrophobic the way it's shot, or personal. We don't get the relief of the way scenes would normally be shot, where there's lots of establishing shots. You see a person walk into the classroom, or walking through corridors. You see an outside shot of the school. You have a shot of the teacher, a shot of the students, a shot showing the whole classroom, and you get all these images that give you a clear visual picture of physical relationship between everything. You don't get that in this movie. It's often just a single shot, maybe waist height, slowly panning. It's sort of in close up, so you can't really see the background. It's fog, it's blurred or whatever. But it works for this. That's the tone of it, and I noticed it, and it made me feel a bit weird, but it works. Like, we have this main character, I think Oscar, little boy. He seems kind of albino. I don't know if he is, but he's got sort of white or very light blonde hair and pale skin. I guess in Sweden, all of them are, have pale skin. It just occurred to me that I don't think there's anyone black in the movie at all, but like, I don't care at all. I just think it's such a weird thing. Like, you could call, I don't know. I just feel like there's this culture of like, there's no diversity. That's the variety of people they have there. In the cold weather, I think light skin makes more sense. You wouldn't, if a movie was about Africa, you wouldn't be like, oh, they're all black. But anyway, now I'm making it complicated. Never mind. So it's completely irrelevant. Anyway, I actually didn't know if he was like going to be a vampire or something, because he seems kind of creepy or weird. But yeah, you understand. He's just a boy that gets bullied a bit. I can relate to that. But I think actually part of the problem of the movie is it complicates things unnecessarily. I can't completely relate to him because he has a knife and he's playing with it, and he says squeal, squeal like a pig, and then he like stabs a tree. I can understand some of that might be psychological stuff that's from the bullying he's been through. Maybe, he's been through much worse than me, I guess, in a way. But like, that's where I lose the connection. Like, he's no longer seems like a nice, innocent boy that's been picked on, but he seems like a boy who now has some issues relating to that. And he's still, I could relate to him a bit, but then he's also got like cuttings out from newspapers of like murders and deaths, like a whole, and I'm like, that's creepy. Is he going to be a serial killer when he grows up? Is there some other subtext? Is that meant to be normal? Am I meant to consider that normal? Am I meant to relate to that? Because I can't. That's part of the problem with the movie. I don't think there's anyone I can actually fully relate to. And I don't like movies where there's this philosophy of all human beings are flawed, and it's like, I don't know, like the movie Magnolia, I haven't actually seen, but it comes to mind as like all these characters with all the different issues, and I like movies that might be a good movie. I haven't actually seen it properly, but I like it when you've got a character that's solid, that you can relate to, that's good, that's not complicated, simple and good. Like Luke Skywalker is perfect. You don't need, why do we have to complicate his life with some other issues? Like, you could mention, oh, you're not so perfect, Luke. Remember when you murdered that, you murdered those 20 animals for no reason? Like, you'd be like, what? Why would you, just, it's nice to have him as this, so anyway. The girl I like is the vampire. She's kind of cool and haunting. There's a lot of close-ups. I could tell they manipulated her eyes a bit. And one of the creepiest parts, that one part was actually quite effective, is when there's some blood spills on the floor. Again, it was a bit weird. This boy cuts his hand, and I think, again, why complicate it? You've already got a vampire. Why do you have to have this boy acting weird and cutting himself? Like, there's already enough horror and weird stuff you know what I mean? Anyway, and then she goes down and licks it. Like she can't resist, she needs to. And then she's looking up, and then it's like she looked different. And I got chills down with it because it was clearly an older lady playing her face. Um, and the idea that that's what she actually is this older woman, but just looks young, but actually old. That creeped me out. But then it cuts away, and then it cuts back, and it's the girl again. And I just thought, that's stupid. Is it like did she actually transition during that time of 2 seconds? I don't like. It feels gimmicky. Like I'm unclear on what we're actually seeing. You know, it worked. You know, until they cut back and just showed the little girl again. That's the other thing. It's clearly a girl, so to complicate it again by showing later, first off, showing the sort of private parts creeped me out. When I saw it, I thought, I want to see, you know, this 12-year-old girl naked. You know, I know it's not real. I think they used a mannequin or something. And then, anyway, I thought I just saw pubic hair, but then I found out it's actually, there's like a horizontal scar and there's no genitals there. Although it's confusing. With female genitals, I feel like often if their legs are together, you're not going to see that much. But anyway, now I feel really creepy. But, you know, so I think in the book, it was actually a boy that was castrated when he became a vampire. And then it's, again, why would you... Is it enough that you've been bitten and turned into a vampire? Why do you have to also be castrated? That complicates the movie. I mean, okay, fine. Maybe part of it is, you know, love can... You know, there's friends anyway. And if it's romantic, fine. Like, what does it matter if he and she or whoever they are like each other and they want to kiss and they feel good about it? Fine. Why does it matter if she was technically a boy before his genitals removed for some reason? You know, it complicates things. Why bother? And the guy, the adult that's looking after her, I thought that was more interesting. Although again, I can't relate to him because what he does is too dark. But I thought some of those early scenes were very effective, where he just sort of knocks someone out with some kind of whatever that thing is, I forget. But anyway, and then hangs them up upside down. And I was so confused. What is he doing? Is he going to feed them to vampires or something? Is it like a sacrifice? And then he's putting like a funnel and a thing, and I was confused. And then he gets a knife out, and then I sort of was like, oh my god, what? And then I realized it's disturbing, and I like how the movie just sort of shows it. It's not, I don't think it's just going for shock value, it's just telling a story. This is what's happening. It's artistic in a way, because I thought, you know, there's lots of close-ups of faces, there's lots of just landscapes. The tone works. I like the tone and the atmosphere. The issue I had was that it was too slow, but I'll come back to that maybe. And then there's other shots where it's just a dead body or parts of bodies, blood. And I thought that worked. It doesn't treat them any differently, and that there is sort of a weird beauty to it. But yeah, it's highly disturbing. And then killing this person, a relatively young person, and then he gets found out, forgets to take the blood, and I was like, clearly he wanted the blood, and I thought maybe he's feeding a vampire, and that's sort of what the case is. And then, yeah, there's another... And it raises issues. I mean, it's admittedly stupid, because vampires aren't real. I'm sorry. I just, you know... I'll try to go with your premise, but... It also is stupid. Apparently the director and the writer said they don't like vampires. They don't really care for vampires. I'm like, I don't buy that. That's like saying, you know, I'm not into guys, and like your wallpaper is like Brad Pitt. Like, come on. You made a movie about a vampire. Like, why are you saying you don't like vampires? That'd be like, you know, if George Lucas said he doesn't like, you know, science fiction. You know, he doesn't like epic sagas about, you know, people traveling around the galaxy and stuff. It's like, I beg to differ. I think I've got some evidence to the contrary. But anyway, yeah, it does raise some interesting issues. Would you be willing to... Like, if you were the vampire, how would you feel? Like, would you commit suicide, or would you be willing to kill people to get their blood? And if you were looking after someone who is a vampire, would you be willing to kill to give him blood? Actually, it reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors. It's the same dilemma. You know, feed me, Seymour. He needs blood. So would you kill people to give him blood? And then how far are you going to go? What if... Anyway, so there's other weird things. Like this little girl, why does she grow? I guess that's the rule. You stay eternally young as a vampire. But so why doesn't she still acts like a child mentally, emotionally? She seems to act like a child. Maybe I'm missing things. The movie doesn't make it clear how long she's been a vampire. My interpretation is that maybe it happened recently, and that's why the father or the guy that's looking after her, which I didn't completely get why. If he's related to her, I could see why. I was thinking maybe, let's just say she's his daughter or niece or something. I could see if maybe the mother was killed by a vampire, the vampire tried to attack her, bit her, and then they managed to fight off the vampire and kill it. Then I could see there's a real issue. It actually seems a bit like zombies. You get bitten, and there's that dilemma of like, we have to kill them, but that's my wife, that's my child. It's like, oh, so many feelings of. It's so depressing. It's like I don't get why people make movies about it and stuff. But anyway, or why people watch it. Why do people watch this stuff? But yeah, I think that would create real pathos, or like you'd care, because he now needs to look after his child, but then is it better to just kill her? But anyway, because yeah, it's horrible what he's doing, and then there's a boy and he's got him upside down again, and it's just disturbing. He gets found out, and then he does I don't know why he has acid with him. I think I sort of get it. I think it was planned and deliberate, and then he pours the acid on himself, and that's disturbing, and his face is half gone, and then again, I sort of enjoy that though, for the surreal intensity, the horror aspect of it, and there's some logic to it. But that's the thing, you take out the vampire and it might have actually been much more intense and interesting. Like, what if you had a child and they had a rare disease and you couldn't afford the medical thing, but you needed blood or something like that. So then you go out killing people, and then there's real moral questions there. I mean, you could say, okay, they're sort of evil. You can't go around killing people, but it's complex, and you have to question what you would do, and it's still intense and scary and thought-provoking, but we have to make it about a vampire and throw logic out the window. But yeah, and then he's in the hospital, so I realized, I think it was like he knew he'd gotten caught and couldn't escape, but by using acid, it's like puts himself in the hospital where he's a bit more accessible. She can get him, and that part was creepy as well, where the lady goes outside the hospital to see where the girl went, and then you see this. I noticed, there's something creepy. Oh my god! And then I rewound, and I noticed she was just on the building the whole time, not moving. But you don't notice because it's still. Although I think they cheated, Obviously, special effects. It's not real. Oh, did they cheat? They didn't do it for real. Are you upset about that? But like the image is completely frozen. So they've like actually frozen the image of her, so there's no movement. That's why it's like we're like T-Rexes, If she moved, I would have noticed her, but because there was no movement, I didn't pick up on it. Anyways, that's kind of creepy. Although again, it looks like I'm on a wire and I'm pretending to climb. She's not actually climbing. I can see. I know there are people in Africa that can do crazy or whatever. That's racist, man. Actually, there could be anyway. People that can climb trees just with their hands and feet. But like, she's not doing that. She's like, I'm being lifted up and I'm pretending with my arms and legs that I'm climbing. But anyway, and then I guess, yeah, he sacrifices himself so she can get blood. I found that weird though as well, because she will like bite someone and she has to, and then she gets the blood. We never see her fangs, but she seems to leave 2 marks. But anyway, she seems to get a bit, and then that's it. Like, people have like 5 or 6 liters, or I thought, even more of blood in their body. Wouldn't you try to suck them dry, get as much as you can? I didn't get that. Like, I felt like it was just kind of like she gets enough. Like, wouldn't it be good to try to keep the body or bite other parts of it, or I don't know, somehow get some for later so you can drink it later? It seems like a waste to sort of get like what seems like 100 mils and kill someone just so you could get 100 mils, and then the other 5.5 liters goes to waste. I also thought like it was kind of nice, she'd have blood on her face, but it was just, again, the movie didn't try to act differently, just filmed her like normal, and you just see her face with blood. But there was a couple of times where it was like, she has a perfect opportunity to wash her face, and like, I don't care who you are, if you're covered in blood, and there's a part where she ends up kissing him, they kiss, and then it's confusing. Is she a girl? I know she said she's sort of not, but I thought she meant she's a vampire. Is that meant to be romantic? Because it's also kind of creepy anyway. 2 12-year-olds kissing, like, it seems a bit young, like, and I don't know. Is the movie meant to just be weird and complicated? That's the thing. I would have preferred more horror myself, and it's not just that I was expecting that, because I sort of was, but I would have preferred that. I think there's not enough good horror movies, and I would have liked a movie that was really not just shocking and intense, but like, yeah, really creepy, thought-provoking, that just had some creative, messed up things happening, and a bit more story to it, like a bit more, don't leave it so mysterious. Tell us exactly how she became a vampire. Let there be an outbreak. Let it become a bigger thing. I got excited when this adult lady got, bitten by her but survived, and then I didn't even occur to me that I realized, oh, she's going to get infected. I got excited. I thought this could now become really interesting. She's going to escape. She's going to bite someone. It's going to spread, and then you can have the police or some other force turn up, or someone that's an expert on vampires, and it gets more interesting, and you have sort of an action horror finale. I guess it's not that movie, but I don't know. It was kind of cool the way she asked for the blinds to be open and then just goes into flames, but it didn't seem to have a purpose. Again, a lot of the movie didn't seem to know what it was getting at. And again, I just would have preferred if it was more eventful, made more decisions. A director should know what their idea is, what they're trying to get across, not just, again, it's like all the moments I liked, but they're too spread out and too empty. It should be more fun in my opinion. I also found, some of the stuff near the end is highly disturbing. Like when the boy hits the other guy in the ear, I think there's some justification. But I feel like the teachers must have failed. Like, how are they letting this go on to the point that the kids have to solve it using violence? Why is Oscar's mother, not contacting the school and saying, my boy's being bullied at school, you need to do something, this isn't good enough? Why does he have to... Is she not noticing that he has some weird issues? He's got a collection of murder cutting outs, and he's got a knife, and he talks to himself about squeal like a pig. Does that never occur to her? And he goes outside. Like, it just seems weird to me. I don't know where his father is. Oh, that's right. You meet his father, so they're split up. So maybe that also has affected him. I don't know. Maybe the idea is the mother and the father might not be that great, or I don't know. They just not aware. But I would think if my kid was like that, I would be aware and find out and make sure my son would tell me if he got a slash from being bullied. Like, how is that going on? You could get whipped and you can't tell anyone, can't tell the teachers they've got to do something. That's messed up. So there's other subtext to it that they complicate it. Anyway, and then the ending bit where they're like, what they plan to do to him and put his hand under the water, and then, they're going to stab him, and then conveniently the girl comes, and it's not clear to me how she knew where he was, how she knew to come there, unless I'm missing something, and then this cute thing of the legs thrashing as they go through the pool, which I didn't buy. Again, it didn't convince me. I guess she's got super strength because she's a vampire, but she's a girl, and just seeing this little kid, oh, that's Dexter. I'm just saying, she's a kid. She's chopping off people and biting, and she can do all that and just rip off arms like it's nothing, and a head. And that was kind of haunting in a way and surreal, but distracting. Like, what is this about? Is this just a weird fantasy? I don't know about other people, but I don't get off on that, and I don't find it romantic. I find it weird and messed up and complicated, and to me, that's not what life is. I don't see myself as that kind of person. I don't want a weird, messed up, complicated relationship with someone else that's weird and messed up and complicated. Like, I don't know. I don't get that. Just another little thing. I didn't like the CGI. There were cats, and they go, and it was clearly CGI, and there was another part where there was a thing I think the boy touched and it fell apart, and I could just tell, or I feel very confident it was CGI. And it's funny when we critique certain things and say, oh, it's just CGI. Like the Star Wars prequels, they're just CGI. There's no actual story. And then these movies use CGI, and doesn't really work to me. but we don't complain about that. Like no one, it kind of ruined it. I just get some angry cats. Like how hard is that? Or edit it so you've got what look like angry cats, or even just props. That might sound lame, but someone with prop cats and they're thrashing, it seemed unnecessary. Again, so anyway, I found the movie a bit disappointing. It's okay, it's unique, like I said, as a drama, and it has some creepy, weird moments, but they're too spread out. I don't actually think it's pretentious at all, but it is a bit too slow and drawn out to me, and doesn't have enough to say. And it also complicates itself, you know, keep it, if you're going to make it, like, have some themes. I don't know what the themes are. Is bullying a theme? Because it kind of is, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't lead somewhere. It doesn't seem to have anything to say about it. You know, is the moral dilemma of being a vampire a theme? Maybe a little bit, but again, it doesn't seem to explore it fully. It's just there a little bit. And even romance, it's kind of, I don't see it as that romantic. It just seems kind of casual, like she's like, oh, okay, I guess we can go steady. But is she a girl? Does that matter? I don't know. And the kids, yeah, so it's just complicated to me and unique, kind of interesting, maybe worth discussing a bit, but not great. And in a way, not that unique. There are other movies that are also weird that don't know what they're saying. So that's how I felt. But anyway, so that's rätte, komma, yep, because there's the cover again, because I'm an idiot. Okay, I'll leave it there. So bye.